Good morning, everyone. My name is Qiuyi and I'm from Harbin Institute of Technology. The title of my paper is A Novel Combining Method for NOMA and OMA in Cell-Free Massive MIMO System. There are 6 parts in my paper. The first part is introduction. Massive MIMO is considered to be one of the key technologies in the 5th generation. However, one of the limitations of it is that when the location of the users are at the edge of the cell, it will lead to low throughput, poor reliability, and increased communication delay. Therefore, a distributed network-based massive MIMO, cell-free massive MIMO, has been proposed and raised lots of concern. In cell-free massive MIMO, all access points serve all users simultaneously, so the problems mentioned above can be solved and higher spectral efficiency can be provided. However, when the number of users is large, the length of the pilots increases, which will decrease the spectral efficiency of cell-free massive MIMO. NOMA is a solution to this problem. As one of the most important key technologies in wireless communication, multiple access technology has always been a focus of research. As the number of users growing, the performance of NOMA is getting better. There are many researchers investigating of cell-free massive MIMO with NOMA. The simulation results prove that when the number of users is large, the sum rate of cell-free massive MIMO with NOMA is higher than OMA. However, when the number of users is small, the performance of NOMA is worse than that of OMA due to intra-cluster interference and error propagation of imperfect SiC. The number of users determine which technology provides higher sum rate. Hence, OMA should be adopted when the number of users is small and switch to NOMA when the number of users is large. Some discussed how to select the appropriate switching point and the specific switching method according to the actual situation and the number of users. Although some researchers have considered the switching technique of OMA and NOMA, this switching technique cannot achieve ideal results near the switching point. Therefore, we combine NOMA and OMA, which means combining the advantages of them. Simulation results prove that this scheme provides higher spectral efficiency under certain number of users and the length of the channel's coherence time conditions. The second part is about system, channel, and signal model. We set GMLK denote the channel coefficient between the kth user in the Lth cluster and mth AP. The channel coefficient is modeled as follows, where HMLK represents the small-scale fading and beta MLK represents the large-scale fading. Because each AP and user is distributed in a large area discretely, each MLK is independent and identically distributed. In cell-free massive MIMO, the entire data transmission process is divided into 3 stages: uplink channel estimation, uplink transmission, and downlink transmission. In uplink channel estimation stage, the user sends pellets to APs and APs obtain CSI using received pellet signals. The users do not know the accurate channel state information, but only know the statistical information of channels. As the number of APs grows sufficiently large, the underlying channels harden, which means the statistical CSI is fixed in several coherence intervals. Therefore, it is sufficient for users to decode. Tau is the length of the channel's coherence time, which is equal to the product of the channel's coherence time and the coherence bandwidth. In this paper, tau is defined as the number of samples for each coherence interval. The coherence time depends on the user's moving speed. Tau p is the length of the palette for users. Tau u and tau d are the uplink and downlink transmission time respectively. In this paper, we assume that the uplink and downlink transmission time is equal. The The model of cell-free massive MIMO with NOMA and OMA is shown in this figure. All APs and user equipments are randomly distributed. Each AP has N antennas and each UE has 1 antenna. All APs and users are divided into 2 parts. The first part of users uses NOMA, yellow UEs. There are more than 1 user in each cluster, that is KL greater than 1. All K users in one cluster use the same palette. The set of this cluster is represented by omega n. Some APs serve them, and the set of these APs is represented by phi n. The other part of users uses OMA, right UEs. There is only 1 user in each cluster, that is KL equals to 1. The set of this cluster is represented by omega O. The other APs serve them, and the set of these APs is represented by phi O. Suppose that users in the system are divided into L2 clusters. The number of NOMA clusters is L1, and the number of users in each cluster is K1. The number of OMA cluster is L2, and the number of users in each cluster is K2. In the channel estimation stage, all users send pilots to the APs. The users in one cluster use the same pilot, and the users in different clusters use orthogonal pilots. The pilot sequence allocated for L's cluster is denoted as phi L. The received signal of the mth AP can be written as the downlink transmission uses conjugate beamforming, so the transmit signal at the mth AP can be expressed as. Then we analyze the achievable spectral efficiency of this system. The signal actually used for decoding after SIC for NOMA and OMA can be written as. In the expressions, D, S, and B, U represents the desired signal and beamforming uncertain for the kth UE in the L's cluster, and IUI represents the inter-user interference. ISIC represents the interference caused by imperfect successive interference cancellation. ICI is the intercluster interference, and OUI and NUI represent the OMA user interference and NOMA user interference respectively. Then the SINR can be derived. The final downlink SE of single user for NOMA and OMA is derived. The fourth part introduces the power allocation algorithm in this paper. We separately allocate power to NOMA and OMA users by using max-min SINR algorithm. P1 is reformulated as P2. Using bisection search algorithm shown in Table 1 can solve P2. Then we introduce the numerical results. There are 40 APs. 20 APs are randomly selected to serve NOMA users, and the other 20 APs serve OMA users. There are 20 users in total. 10 users are randomly selected to use NOMA, and the other 10 users use OMA. This result is shown in Figure 2. Using OMA and NOMA at the same time in the cell-free massive MIMO is able to obtain higher SE than using OMA or NOMA alone under certain number of users and the length of the channel's coherence time conditions. The advantages of OMA is that there is no interference caused by the users in the same cluster and imperfect SIC. Therefore, the sum rate of OMA is higher than NOMA. However, OMA requires a large number of orthogonal pilots, which means the length of the pilot sequence is large. It takes a long time to send the pilots, resulting in a short time that can be used for uplink and downlink data transmission, which will seriously affect SE when the coherence time is short. The advantages of NOMA is that fewer orthogonal pilots are required, which means the length of pilot sequence can be shorter. However, there is interference caused by the users in the same cluster and imperfect SIC. When the coherence time is long, the SE of NOMA is lower than OMA. Additionally, in cell-free massive MIMO with NOMA scheme, the number of users in each cluster must be equal, which is inflexible. Using OMA and NOMA at the same time is a compromise. When the coherence time is not too long or too short, cell-free massive MIMO with OMA and NOMA combine the advantages of OMA and NOMA. Some users use NOMA to shorten the length of pilot sequences, and other users use OMA to get a higher sum rate. In addition, it does not require the number of users in each cluster to be equal. However, when the coherence time is too short, the length of the pilots is greater than that of NOMA, make the SE of it lower than NOMA, and when the coherence time is too long, the length of the pilots has little effect. But the interference caused by NOMA users decreases the sum rate and SE. Therefore, cell-free massive MIMO with OMA achieves the best performance. This paper studies the multiple access technology in cell-free massive MIMO and proposes a cell-free massive MIMO with NOMA and OMA scheme. Unlike cell-free massive MIMO with NOMA, this scheme does not require the number of users in each cluster to be equal. The simulation results prove that under certain number of users and the length of the channel's coherence time conditions, using OMA and NOMA at the same time in the cell-free massive MIMO is able to obtain higher spectral efficiency than using OMA or NOMA alone. Thank you for listening.